Hello guys, and welcome to my Vanquish deck profile for the post-Phantom Nightmare format. So, just yesterday actually, I brought this to a case tournament event, and unfortunately, while we didn't win due to the fact that my teammates in the 3v3 did perform exceptionally well, however, in the last few matches we did screw up. This is the deck profile, and we unfortunately did bubble out. So, for the 3v3 event, I bought Vanquish. Now, I did, in my last deck profile, complain about how Vanquish's viability in this format isn't exactly great, but ironically enough, I didn't play that much Fire King, so I didn't do that bad in comparison for that. So without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. Now, from my last deck profile, most of the stuff here remains relatively the same. We still play the golden ratios, in my opinion: 3 Raisin, 2 Jialong, 1 Pantera, 2 Caesar, 2 Madlove, 2 Borger. This, to this day, still doesn't really change, as the ratios should remain relatively the same here. The only difference here is that Caesar and Madlove can both be considered being cut down to 1 once cards like a Rise Heart and the Runic Engine is out of the format. Ideally, you never really want to draw into these. The reason why Caesar is played is it's a non-targeting destruction. The reason why Madlove is played is because it's also a draw for Borger, and you can also use it to bounce. However, in most cases, drawing these instead of a Raisin really hurts. Caesar still should be played at 1, sorry, not Caesar, Jiaolong should be played at 2, not 3, 2, because you play a lot of fires in this deck already to do its search effect. Now moving on to the other main deck cards, we are playing 3 Fenrir, 1 Rise Heart, the obligatory Vanquish cards. Although Fenrir isn't as good this format, sadly, it's still phenomenal as a card into other decks other than Fire King, and even into Fire King it still does relatively decent. Next, we have 1 Magnemite. This is supposed to be Kurikara. I tested it for the event. However, after the event, I didn't get a proc Kurikara. However, I do believe Kurikara is still really good as a card, as a one-of, because you could dig for it. Because in Vanquish whole combo, you already cycle out 15 of your engine by turn 2. So this is still like Kurikara is still definitely a better card than this. You use Power Prosperity to dig for it, and you usually might be able to draw into it. It's a phenomenal board breaker too. 3-dimensional shifter. Unfortunately, in this format, you still have to play this. This is the only way your deck can really compete and get a free win. 2 Ghost Spell. Ghost Spell is good. There could be a third Ghost Spell in lieu of like the Bestial Magnema or Kurikara here. Ghost Spell is still a good card. It hits a lot of matchups, hits Labyrinth especially well. 3 Ash, don't really need to explain why Ash is still good in this deck. It's Fire Attribute, and it's Ash Blossom. Still, you only play Snow Devil and continue. You play the Dust Devil in the side, which I'll show you later, for only the Kashtira matchup, where it's like really good. Next, we have 3 Sacred Soul, 1 Durandal, 1 Reinforcements, and then we have triple Pot Prosperity. These are just all ways to dig for Vanquish Raisin or other Vanquish cards. A lot of things I see in Vanquish players is that after a combo, they'll actually shotgun this first, which is really dumb. You should always be holding Prosperity until you absolutely need it, right? Prosperity as a card, unless you've drawn like a really brick hand, is always better to do at the end of a combo. So first of all, this way you won't accidentally get rid of a card like Dempsey, which I done as a really dumb mistake, so I couldn't get into Raisin in the first place. Or with Prosperity, you could search for some like cards, like let's say for example your Jialong gets Imperm. You can go Prosperity at the end to go search out the Snow Devil anyways. Or you can even go Prosperity, search an Ash Blossom that you might have not had in hand. But if you were to do this first, then people are just gonna go and you're gonna like not have like optimal ratios because you'll see more Vanquish cards. So this is best to play when you thin out the deck in this strategy. Next, True Triple Tactics Talents and 3 Imperm. Imperm gets a lot worse this format because of Kieran. It's still good. I can't play Valor in this deck, and Valor is also not great, but this is still something you kind of have to play. I'd rather this always be like Ash Blossom in my hand, but this did put in a lot of work this week. And then True Triple Tactics Talents. Talents is Talents. Maybe there's a justification for 3, but I think 3's a brick. And this did come up a lot during the weekend, like tournament, and then we have our extra. Our extra starts with 3 Rocket the Vanquisher. I'm looking for my last ulti of this, which I couldn't get, unfortunately. 1 Cerberus, 1 Phoenix, 1 Hida, 1 Underworld. Now, don't get me wrong. I think both Underworld and Cerberus can be cut this format. In fact, I was playing SP over Cerberus during the weekend. The reason why I still think Underworld kind of is playable is although you can break boards with Dugaris, which I'll get into later, sometimes you can't do that, right? Because into Pearly, this is still the better way to out towers. The only towers you out with Dugaris is like something like a Rival Cybers. Or the Raid Raptor card, the new Big Falcon one. I think instead, you can even justify playing Barone, or if you play Bisteel Magnuma, you can justify playing Chaos Angel in these spaces. These are like, in my opinion, the 2 flex spots, but the Cerberus flex spot is more like, if not Cerberus, SP, and this is like the real flex spot. Next, we have our rank 4s, 1 Dweller, 1 Dugaris, 1 Dempsey, 1 Baguska. To be honest, a lot of the times I don't summon Baguska, but ironically enough, sometimes he does come up. The Dugaris I did see teched in a lot of, I think it was it was an online regional one. Dugaris actually makes a lot of sense. It has 3 effects, right? Which is really, really good. This came up twice during the thing. I played one Attic Nestor player. I went Dugaris and made my Caesar a 6,000 and went over his rival. So this is still really good. Dempsey's for bad hands. Dweller, I'm probably still going to keep because it hits Fire King, hits the random tier matchups. I want to get an ulti of this. Baguska, I might cut, but there's not really much things to play in. Maybe Tornado Dragon, but this is not that great. Lastly, the obligatory ones. The Zodiac package, still good. And then Typhon. I might play a second Zeus because Kashira is still like a pretty funny matchup I have to play into, but other than that, it's not really much of a concern. Next, 3 Nibiru, 2 Phantasme, 2 Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Duster. For these, Phantasme should be up at 3. I just couldn't find one for the event. These are like, Nibiru is still good. It hits Rogue, it hits Mandome, stuff like that. These Cosmic Cyclone and a Duster could also be just triple Cosmic Cyclone. This came in really clutch during the matchup I played against Fire King, where I just went Cosmic Cyclone on their island, and they blew up their board. Or maybe I play 3 of this again. 1 Dust Double, 1 Thrust. Thrust just represents the 3rd copy of any spell trap in this deck that is a normal one, and Dust Double beats Kashira matchup. Thrust I might play at 3 and cut like the card I'm about to bring up, because I played 2 different Dimension Grounds and 3 evenly match. This was phenomenal at the event. It killed Orcus, it beat Fire King. This, on the other hand, evenly match is just kind of alright. Like, how to explain this? Evenly match did come up, but it just wasn't great when it did. It's like an equalizer, but there's so much negates in the format, so it's only alright. Anyways, thanks for watching my Vanquish full deck profile for the post Phantom Nightmare format, and have a nice day.